Hi, Stefan.
Good
Nice to
day,
meet
Philip.
you again. It's has been some time now, and I'm happy to see you. And thank you for being willing to have this conversation today.
Thanks, Philip, for having me. It was really a nice surprise to actually get an invitation from your side. Look forward actually what we want to discuss, and I'm very curious.
Why I invite you is because I know you give treatments, but you do also many other things, and you have a main job as a manager, and you have been writing books about leadership. So that's all aspects that I find very interesting that can enrich our bodywork practice. I'm curious to hear more about how your experience could help us as bodyworkers, because also when we work with people, it can be interesting to have more insights about leadership. But first of all, I want to ask you, how did you get interested in bodywork?
Well, actually, I've been traveling for my work quite extensively. Over a span of 10 years, I spent approximately 200 days a year in a foreign country. Some of those countries were in the East, and there I actually, in Singapore mainly, I got in touch with one of my colleagues, Patricia Pua, and she actually said, Stefan, during the weekend, you need to try this kind of massage parlor, massage environment. Because they give really good massages. They work with a lot of pressure points. They work with, they take their time and they're really good. So I went there, took it up, and was really impressed of their work. Then a couple of years later, there was a financial crisis. And the financial crisis actually meant no traveling anymore, no moving around anymore, and doing everything from home more or less. We don't have kids. We do have a garden. We do have other things as well. We now have a dog. But I had some free time, and I actually said, why not take up the practitioner of massage business? And I started taking some courses. What I actually noticed in the, we had basic course and then we had some follow-up possibilities, was that I was always drawn towards the acupressure kind of thing. So you had the Thai foot massage, you had the Chinese head, neck and shoulder massage, etc. And from there I said, okay, those were really short courses, taking something like 3-4 days maximum over a couple of weeks. And I said, let's dive into it and look for a training. And I actually found then Shiatsu and took on the training from there. On the other hand, there was something that I also recall, and that was when I was something like 15 or 16 years old. We had a task at school, and the task at school was to interview some professions. At that moment, not going to them, but actually via post. And we had a small group, and there I actually put forward the idea of, why don't we ask anything about complementary medicine? And I still recall that we had a lot of questions that we asked about acupuncture and acupressure towards the doctors, the medical doctors, and some of them returned with their answers. And at least our master of the school was impressed of what we did and how we did it. So there was already a looming interest at that moment. And then actually when I got the time and when I got the possibilities, I took up the training to actually expand my knowledge.
Interesting. So today you're still practicing, or your manager position has taken a lot of time, I can suppose, or you still travel and you still have time for giving treatments?
The traveling is next to non-existent anymore. I have currently a team of 25 people spread around the world from China till Mexico. But I'm still doing my practice. So I have my customers at home, and I also have my colleagues who quite often call me for help if they have extra customers that they cannot serve. I'm more into the massage business, so to say, but I always incorporate my acupressure and my shiatsu into the normal massages. Is it now that I go for the lung meridian, the water meridians, if I go for the do my renmai to actually get extra relaxation in the body. So I always integrate some part of shiatsu or parts of what I have been trained by you into the treatments of my customers. I have looked at my agenda, and from February onwards, it's actually pretty busy. So I'm happy. It's a nice combination to have my manager kind of position, but also to actually be able to detach from everything that we have there and to look at the people, just one person that you have in front of you, and to actually be focused on that person, or how you can help, or how you can actually alleviate some issues they might have.
So you said normal massage. Can I imagine it more like a Swedish massage?
You can imagine it as a Swedish massage. So my massages are normally the part is relaxation, a part is sports, a part is then the shiatsu that I put into it, and a part is the Thai foot massage. So it's a combination of the skills that I have, and where people are actually coming out like pretty relaxed, but also energized.
And actually, maybe you help me, because manager, how can I imagine how you lead people, and what is your role as in that job?
Okay, we have in my job we have, as I said, I have 20 people. I used to have 50, but I actually split up the team. And what we do is supporting a software system, an ERP software system, so where we get the orders in and the invoices out. Every country has every year new legislation, so the software systems need to be updated. And we are actually looking at the as-is versus the to-be. We look where the gap is, what kind of development needs to happen in the system, and then we do the testing, the training, and the go-live. That is one part. The second part is that when people are actually having to use the system and they don't understand the process or they make a mistake, then they come to us and we are actually looking at what have they done, what is the issue, how can we solve it, and then we give them instructions on how to proceed. So that is a use phase part. Next to that, we have a massive documentation that we need to maintain. And where we see the opportunities, we also trigger some smaller projects based on the issues that we have seen to actually avoid them for the future. So how I see my job actually is more as a coach to my team. I know something of the systems, but my team is much faster and much more proficient in it. But I'm looking at the distribution of the work, so making sure that everyone is not overloaded or trying to avoid overload. I go into discussions with project managers on the allocations, on how much time they can actually get from my team during which kind of period. I'm looking for the changes that we have in the company and how it might affect our team, and then discuss it with my management. So it's more coordinating, a mentoring and a coaching role that I have at this moment to ensure that the invoices that need to be sent out are out, and the orders that we get, that they are getting in.
Okay, fascinating. So are there some things that you can bring from your manager experience, because you have a long experience, to your practice, that you can see that you can coach people, that it helps you to work one-on-one with people?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you see it more as separate worlds somehow?
It's not really a separate world. It is. I'm looking at a couple of things in life. The first thing is beauty. And the second thing is putting people in the center, like the humanists are doing. When I look at beauty, I look at the beauty of smooth processes, smooth ways of working, understanding of people, not avoiding conflict. I want to have conflict left and right, but actually always coming from the conflict to a better situation. Trying to understand the others in a conflict and then actually moving on. When I look then at my practice, I also I say, okay, I put the person that I have in front of me central. I'm busy with that person. I'm not gonna, okay, I still need to go shopping. I still need to do my garden. No, that I have the person in front of me. That's what I need to do. I need to focus there and keep my attention with what is being said or asked or what I actually feel in the body or how I can actually move on and actually work on it. So really looking for centralizing the thoughts and keeping your practice.
Fascinating. Yeah, very interesting. What I remember from your book is that, if I remember right, on the title it was about trust. And that's, I liked also what you said about beauty, because I see it also as a very important thing in life to be able to appreciate beauty. But I found it also very beautiful that you put trust in the center of your work.
Well, if you have a team of X amount of people and they're spread around the globe and you never meet them, you need to hire them and maybe you have them on the camera. You have them 3 to 5 years or even longer in your team, but you might never actually meet them face to face, because that is a situation you're in. Not that I'm supporting that. I really would like to travel around, meet them and actually, but okay, the situation is what it is. You need to be able to trust them and they need to be able to trust you. So I need to trust them that they are actually getting up in the morning and actually doing their work, that they are upskilling them based on the trainings that we give, that they are giving their best for their customers, their internal and external customers, and that when there is an issue that they're not actually hiding it, but that they're actually stepping forward. I had a case a couple of years ago. There was someone who really messed something up, and we had major issues in our hubs because that person actually pressed the wrong button, set a flag differently, and the orders couldn't flow anymore. There was a major upheaval. The one thing that she did right was, hey Stefan, I fucked up. And then we could immediately start with damage control. We could start with our communication. We could start with preventive actions. That it didn't spread any further. We could start with the corrective actions. We could start with actually, like we say, damage control. And based on that experience and that one, I've never punished her either. I said, okay, there's no reason, because you did something wrong, but you took all the subsequent actions to actually avoid that there would be a major disaster. And that I really appreciated. So that's the trust that I have in them, that they are coming forward and that they are actually bringing me the needed information. And they need to be able to trust me that in cases where their situation is at stake, is it now the job due to restructuring, or is it now that there are promotions to be dealt with, or that there is something or that work needs to be distributed, that it is happening in a fair manner and that they can actually understand why I do something or how I do something. Okay, you might not always be able to say everything, but for example, we had a major reorganization and I said, okay, do you want, because I also try to promote self-steering, do you guys want to actually divide the work yourself, or do you want me to do it? They said, we want you to do it. I said, okay, I will do it, but I will base it on data, so that you cannot actually say you actually gave something more to one person or another person. So it's going to be really data-driven, and then we can correct it in case needed in the next couple of months. And that's the transparency that I want to give. So also here, putting the person central, giving them the transparency and giving them the visibility on how we come to certain decisions, and to certain situations.
Yeah, the straightness, I really appreciated when you were in the education, and we had 3 years together, and I always appreciated that there were straight communication between us, and that's something that I think is very important also in the shiatsu world, that there is a straight communication, that there is a straight okay, we can have different opinions about things or see things different, but that's something I wish that would be actually installed more. That because like I had one colleague, he had written a book and he said, I never had any feedback, and that's something that I sometimes also miss. I written a book about the roots of shiatsu, but until this day, I'm still waiting for some feedback, even if it's positive or someone says, yeah, but maybe this could be better or that could be better. So how do you think the shiatsu world could invite more, a nice dialogue, also a respectful dialogue? How do you see that?
It's very difficult. I have the same experience as you have. I have written 2 books. My first book I distributed into the company. I think 20 or 30 documents. Okay, and I asked for feedback. I think I got one person provided feedback on Amazon, so really next to nothing. Then there was an action that I made it free for the company a couple of years later, and there were hundreds of downloads, and there was no feedback at all. Then when I actually moved to another team where I am now, and my manager actually said, Stefan, I've been reading your books and they were okay. So that was that, okay. That's okay, but that was one of the first feedbacks that I actually got. So it seems that, and that is also something that I have seen when I was studying my electromechanics ages ago. We had a class where people needed to give presentations. The ones who didn't want to give presentations, they needed to take an extra exam, and they were actually allowed to give feedback on the presentations that were actually coming into the class. I was one of those nasty guys who didn't want to give a presentation, and I wanted to give feedback to those guys. And that was actually, for me, I just said what I was thinking, very straightforward, very direct. Teacher was shocked, pupils were shocked, or peers were shocked. But it was true. If it is not worth the time that they have been spending, then you need to be able to say it. You can say it softly. Okay, you can also say it a little bit more direct, that they actually really know what is wrong, why it's wrong, and what is actually the add or non-add value. That's also what I do with my team members. It is not that, oh yeah, it's nice and it's very hard. And no, this is right, this is wrong, this can be improved. And always looking from, okay, tell them what's wrong, but also give them the opportunity to improve and tell them how they could improve. Also offer other voices, because they might not believe you at a certain moment, and they say, okay, go for a coach or a mentor in the company or outside the company who can actually give feedback on your stuff as well. I'm not having the holy grail, but I have a bit of experience on a number of topics.
And how do you see that in the one-on-one relation with the people who come for treatment to you? Because sometimes, if I talk from my experience, I see things, but I want the person to discover it for themselves. But at a certain time, I have to tell them also maybe things they don't really want to hear, but that they...
Yeah.
And that's
I have such cases as well. And the persons, I have given that very direct feedback on what they should do and where they really need to work on, because they're going to get in trouble. Got a very nice person here working day and night overweight, too much drinking, too much coffee, too much this, too much that, always comes back. But I say, I really cannot help you more than giving you some relaxation and some stabilization. If you really want to make the next steps, you're going to have to do something about the way you live your life. And that might be very brutal for some, but that is really how it is. If you see that person actually deteriorating, you can only say, hey, have you been thinking about what I said the last time, the time before? What do you want to do? And you can keep treating such people, but you also need to tell them, okay, there's not going to be a big improvement if it's not coming from within. If you're not putting your shoulders underneath it.
Yeah.
And what I also, and just coming back a little bit, you were saying, how do you actually talk to people? And when I look into my team, I cannot satisfy everyone at the same time with how I speak or what kind of methods I use. There is a very nice tool on the internet, and that is the cultural or the cultural awareness tool, something like that. And it actually has a number of things that people can look at. What kind of decision making do people want in, for example, China, or in Belgium, or in France, or in Canada, for example. What kind of way of talking do they want to have? Is it direct, indirect, etc.? You have always the scale. And the thing that I did was with my team, I actually put that up and I said, look, you might think that I'm or too soft because the Chinese want to have very direct communication, or I'm way too hard because the Canadian people want to have very, they want to work very much together. I said, I cannot do good for everyone in the same meeting. You're all in the same call, but I have my own style. And if someone disagrees or actually wants to have more clarification or wants to have some extra background, I'm always willing to give it. But this is my way of working that I have. I will adapt in my one-on-ones, but in the big team calls, I need to have my own position, and from there we can then actually discuss and see how things going. But you cannot say, okay, I'm here and it's going to be fine for everyone. You need to know that there's going to be different expectations from different cultures on the way you communicate, on the way you interpret things, or on the way that you are actually bringing things forward or demanding things.
And do you get in your practice also people from different cultures who come and see you, or
sometimes, but not a lot?
Because if I'm right, you're close to France also. So
I'm close to France. I have some French customers or French-speaking people. I have some English people who are here traveling around or who are staying here for a while. And I did when you actually gave us the task to do those every year. We had to do our practice with our reports. I actually did my practice in Finland, in the hotel when I was staying there with my colleagues, and then I had a wide scale of people from all different kind of countries, from Iran, from Finland, from Hungary, from Sweden, from wherever. So yes, there I had them, but okay, they were my colleagues.
Yeah, I can suppose it's also different to work with colleagues. I think when you give a treatment.
I just considered it as a customer at that moment.
Yeah.
So I didn't say, this is my colleague and I need to do this or be aware of that. No, I really considered it, and it's not my colleague, it's just a person.
Okay, great. Yeah, actually that's a thing I do when I work with family or friends. Then we have a different relationship. It's more therapeutic relationship. Okay. So Stefan, is there anything that you want to share to other practitioners that you think would be important to know that you discovered over the years?
Yeah, there's one thing that I really like, and that I find also helping me quite a lot. Well, there are two things. First of all, the time that you take for yourself. I'm getting up at 6 o'clock. I'm at my desk at 7 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, I have some kind of a dip, and that's not really what I want. So I then have a Shakti mat. I don't know if you know that. Probably you do. So that's with the needles and pins that you can lay on and relax. So I take a 30-minute break, and I actually go and rest on my Shakti mat with some infrared heating underneath, which makes me really relaxed and actually full of energy to come back to my work. But during the time that I spend there, I can do a couple of things. I can meditate. I can think about the work I still need to do, but I rather don't do that. Or I actually work on my breastbone and work there with on the fascia. Constantly going up in very small circles. Can take 10 minutes from the bottom of the breastbone to the top of the breastbone, and just see what happens. And quite often it is energy that releases itself. Is it now in the legs? Is it in the arm? Or is it in the back of the body? And that is really something that I do appreciate, and that I also train, it's 5 minutes training to a lot of people, because it helps people to relax. It helps people also, that breastbone treatment helps to fall asleep much faster than normally if people are always awake, or they say, okay, I'm thinking about this. No, just work on your breastbone, think on your breastbone, feel your breath, and then actually continue like that for 10-20 minutes. And that is really something that has helped me a lot to get a lot of tension out of my body, out of my legs, out of my back. And that's that I'm grateful for.
Yeah, sounds very wise to take care of oneself, because otherwise we cannot take care of others. It's there we start. So I just have one more question for you, Stefan. Over the years, because now you have been doing body work for a long time also, do you see a change in your practice? Because and I asked you this question because recently I was talking with some students who just started, and they said, after treatment, I feel very tired. I need to take a pause. And other students, over time, I see that they have more energy, that they can relax more in the treatment. Is that something you also, it's also in your experience that it has changed over the years, your practice?
It is more relaxed. There is less stress on it. Okay, there's someone coming. I trust that I will be able to do what I have to do. And if it's not what the customer wants, or if the customer isn't happy, if they don't tell me what is wrong, then I can say, sorry, but I cannot help you. So it's more like an acceptance of, I can help a number of people, but there might be some people that I cannot help either. Recently, I had a person coming with some severe cases, and at a certain moment didn't turn up for the appointment anymore. It's a severe case, so I start calling around, and the person just said, oh, I totally forgot it. And I don't feel well, and I don't think I will come. And I may come later again. I said, sorry, but that is not one of my worries anymore. So there needs to be some engagement from the customer, and there needs to be some kind of a connection that they are also sharing what they are feeling, what they want to have, what they are expecting, and you cannot let your happiness hang or depend on what someone else is not sharing.
Yeah, after all, treatment is communication. It's an exchange, and if the person is not willing to be there, then who are we to do anything?
Yeah. I also had it, but that is then on a massage business case, pure massage. Some people get those kind of vouchers, and it will have voucher in another place where I had to give some extra hands. And you see it when people come inside the room. They are already saying, why am I here? What do I do? Then they lie there with their eyes open, totally not relaxed, totally stressed on the massage table. And then when it's finished, they are actually, without a word, they are already out of the room before you have even noticed that they opened the door. So such kind of people, okay, there might be something that they still need to get accustomed to or whatever, but at that moment you cannot really help them. And you just need to accept that such things will happen.
Yeah, and sometimes people need to go to someone else that they feel a different rapport with. It's like that. We cannot please everyone.
No, that's correct.
Do you have some final thoughts for us, Stefan?
I
very appreciated that you took the time to do this. But are there some things you still want to share?
For everyone who does it, they need to enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing. There's going to be ups and downs, but enjoy what you're doing and look for the beauty. And just taking one extra thing is, I do some photography. And my parents are not too happy with it because it's always dark and it's hardcore, or it's some kind of event where it's more rough. And I read somewhere, because I'm attracted to beauty in darkness as well. And I read somewhere that a photographer will always find beauty wherever he goes. Is it now in the sunshine or in the darkness? That's also what we need to do in our shiatsu, looking for the beauty and looking for how we can help and how we can support without forgetting ourselves.
Thank you very much, Stefan. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you. And I hope to see you next time when I come to Belgium or when you come to Japan. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care.